What's up, everyone? We have trades to get through for round 17. I have left it pretty late, was just waiting really on late mail. We still haven't got a lot of it. There's a chance that Munster doesn't back up, and I don't know why they would actually push him to back up. Sounds like he's ill, whatever that means. It might mean that he went pretty hard the other night. Who knows? A lot of people are saying that, which is funny. But obviously not super highly owned. Munster. Sounds like Moses is going to back up, which is good. Hopefully all of the Cowboys players back up. So I feel like I'm safe enough to make this trades video now. Fair bit happening in the people squad. There was some chatter for 4 trades, which turns out just wasn't going to make sense. And yeah, just didn't work out from what I was looking to put together. There was calls for Lemuelu, Garrick. They're the 2 that have still remained. Oluwapu and then Billy Smith. So I've managed to move on Oluwapu and Billy Smith for Jack Bird. And I had to go down to Sanders Smith at the 223k to make this work. Leaves us with 2k in the bank and 4 trades remaining. And a looper this week. We can loop Garrick. We can loop Sanders Smith there. The other thing with everyone wanting to get rid of Lemuelu is we didn't really have an edge to be able to make that happen. So yeah, to be able to get Bird in, or Gagai was the other option there. And also Lem, we would have had to, and trade out Lem, sorry. We would have had to bring in Brendan Hands and also Sanders Smith. And I just felt that bringing in the 2 of them probably wasn't ideal. We also don't need to overload on trades this week, given we have 18 available players, especially if Haas and Grant back up. Moses sounds like he will. And then Walshy, yeah, there's a few things to think about as well. So if we don't lock in all of our trades heading into this first game, hopefully we do find out a little bit more tomorrow. And that will be great for us to be able to maneuver things as well. Hopefully Cookie backs up as well. So there's plenty of those Origin guys that we've got to look at. If we are pushing towards round 19, the Bird trade in for Billy Smith means that we do get that extra center, which we needed, which is great. So Bird and Lemuelu will be our centers. We have enough edges. We do have one too many edges, unfortunately, which actually works out okay, because Hopgood will go up to the mids because we have Payne Haas in our mid section there. Considering Fisher Harris will have the bye, that'll allow us to have Bateman and Preston in the edges and one up to the mid. We're currently missing a hooker, which is why Brennan Hands would have been the play, but we still have the opportunity to bring in a Simkin next week. We could also wait until 19 and get one of those Brendan Hands or something like that then, because we're only going to miss out on one price rise from Brendan. Yeah, is going to be the play there. So we also have a couple extra weeks and maybe Jeremy Marshall-King is back. He is out as well, guys. Something to note there as well. And in the wing fullbacks for us, we have Dream Buller. That is all. So the wing fullback position is something we're going to have to look at as well. There's a little bit of talk for Chancellor Klukstar as well, which I think could potentially happen in round 19. We could fix up that wing fullback position. Maybe it's a Gutherino. No, unlikely. But people ask me if he's a pod move, and he's definitely a pod move, but he's not going to score like he has the last bunch of weeks on a very regular occurrence there. So that's where we're at in terms of the people squad. I think leaving 4 trades in the bank is going to be a big win. I think we're going to be able to overtake plenty of teams in the run home. If you feel like there's something you would do differently to the 2 trades that I made, then please let me know. I obviously did want to go Brendan Hands, but money did not allow us to do that. So that's where we're at in terms of the people's squad. Let's go to my squad now. And currently have no trades made. And that's, as I said, part of the reason why I haven't jumped on and spoke to you guys yet. It's just because I didn't have it set with the trades that I want to make. Guys that I want out of my side, obviously Trent Liero, Connolly Lemuelu, and Oluwapu. And 5 trades remaining, 67 in the bank. Really, to be honest, guys, the play this week is likely going to be Sloaney tonight. So Oluwapu to Sloan leaves me with about 100k in the bank. It doesn't really allow me to do a lot with Trent Liero. Someone I've been looking at, obviously, all week is Tanner Boyd. But I'm kind of hoping that Damien Cook ends up playing in round 19. Brendan Hands with the other option as well, instead of Sloan. What I do need, guys, coming into round 19 at the moment, as you would have known if you watched the previous video, thank you for doing that, is a wing fullback and also a hooker. So Sloan would cover the wing fullback position. We know he has upside, but we know he has downside as well. So I would likely be looping him this week in this first game. He'd go straight into my 5 jersey. And if Robson or something like that doesn't happen to back up, they would get traded anyway. So I'm very much happy to grab Sloan. He's the only one out of that list, him, Brendan Hands as well, that will be playing in each of those weeks coming up. Brendan Hand's going to be out next week. So if I did make that trade in for Brendan, it would leave me with 4 Eels out next week. And then if people have a 1 week suspension, a 1 week injury, something happens to the rest of my squad, I'll be playing short or I will have to trade. So the way I'm thinking this week is if I can make that one trade, I then have, if it is Sloan, it's going to be this week 18-19 that we get him in our squads, which is going to be important. He fills that wing fullback slot that we need. And in that case, yes, we miss him in round 20, but likely if he can make a little bit of money, he's going to be moved on in round 20. Or we can move on, a Damien Cook or something like that. He might be gone before then. There's a few options, obviously, in round 20. If I grab him now, I believe it means I have 4 players that are out in that week with DeBell and Horsburgh and Cook to go along with Sloaney there. So he gives me a number for the next 3 weeks. He has the ability to make some cash, considering the last couple of weeks have been better for him after he lost a hell of a lot of cash. So we know he's going to be the boom or bust type of guy. We're not sure on the situation with Hands and Hodgson. Sandon Smith likely gets a couple of weeks. You have a couple of weeks from Cogger. There's a couple of weeks from, who else is there? Who's the other cheapie? Dylan Lucas, potentially, could be 1 week, then back to the bench for low minutes. None of them really stand out. Blake Taff was the other one I'm looking at, but he is likely to be around 17 and a 19 guy. You'd imagine that Latrell Mitchell comes back next week. So yeah, there's no real clear option, and that's the only reason we're looking at Sloaney there. 345k or whatever he is. He's definitely going to do a job in the side. We'll loop him this week. Hopefully Robson does back up and everyone else does. Obviously a little bit sad that we're going to have to play Liero. If Sloaney gets a 40 odd, then I think we'll take that potentially over Lem or Liero. The other fun thing that could potentially be done here is the use of the loop situation. So I could put Ponga in the half spot there. We'd have Tedesco as a guy that could be that looper as well, which we'll have to have a play with that one and see how that one looks out, because you can put one of your non-players in Buller into that wing fullback slot, but it does cause an issue obviously with Sloaney there and how we play this one. So yeah, very interesting how that's going to work out, but we'll have a little play with it. If that's the way we go, we are able to loop one of them, Liero or Lemuelu would be the guy that comes in or out in that scenario. Obviously, Lem there, it has the edge and center duel, so we can loop that one as well. We can loop Liero in the edges with Bateman. Sorry. So there's a couple of things to look at. I haven't sussed it out yet, but I will definitely go into it a little bit deeper. The more advanced looping is a little bit something you need to kind of mess around with and play around with. So that's where we're at in terms of my team. Let me know your thoughts. Are you getting 17 on the park? I definitely will be getting 17. It's just whether I use multiple trades now or I just use the one this week if everyone backs up. And then I can really launch in sort of round 18, 19, and 20 there. You can use probably one in round 18 there, a couple in round 19, and obviously 2 or 3 in round 20 and 21 there. So that's the big thing. If you do have the extra trades now, I think really where it benefits you is just in that round 19, obviously to get that full 13 on the park, but then round 20 and 21, where you could probably use a couple rather than, some people when they get their first 8, they're likely to use 1 or 2, maybe 3 in total over those few weeks, where I could use 4 or 5 and get to my final 17 as quickly as possible. So that's where we're at in terms of my squad, the People Squad guys. Let me know how many players you're going to have on the park this week. Hopefully it is 17, and I hope that you can get yourselves in a great position to make a charge in the next few weeks. Just a very awkward kind of situation at the moment with just no real great options coming into round 17. And then some of the options like Colin Matangi are guys that are likely to be featuring in Origin. Do you pick up an Origin guy like a Harry Grant at this stage? There's so many questions that you need to answer, and I hope this video helps you in finding out those answers. See you guys.